Hi, it's me, Boo, back with another review. And this one I'm really excited about. It's by a new perfumer. His name is Robert Elder, no relation. He happens to have the same name as a very close relative of mine, and that's what got us talking. And then I found out he was a new perfumer and launching a new scent, Immortal Meadow, on Indie Scents. And I couldn't wait to try it. So anyway, Indie Sense, it took quite a while for it to get here. I'm not sure why, but it was like a week. And I've been wearing it around the last couple of days and testing it on some coworkers and some people I'm close to and stuff. And something I found very interesting is that this really appeals to women, but not much to men. Anyway, it's by Sebastiane. I don't think it's pronounced Sebastian because of the spelling. I think it's Sebastiane, but I may be incorrect about that. And like I said, the perfumer is Robert Elder, and this is Immortal Meadow. And this is his debut fragrance, but from what I understand, he's going to have several others that he's going to be launching, I believe, on Indie Sense. This was really reasonable. It was like 75 bucks for 100 ml. Projection is incredible on this. And I mean, it's almost a beast. It really is. He really knocked it out of the park for longevity, projection, sillage. It really is incredible. Well done. Really well done. Now, getting into the fragrance of it, I found it really interesting because the men didn't care for it much that smelled this. They didn't even care for it much on a woman, let alone them wearing it. But the women loved it, including myself. Almost every gal that sniffed it was like, ooh, yeah, I'd buy a bottle of that, especially for the price being so reasonable. And I believe it was free shipping. I think there was a code I used to get free shipping. Maybe it's on everything 75 and up. On Indie Sense you get free shipping, so it's really reasonable, especially for what you get. And now I'll read you the notes. And the notes are very true to what you smell, for the most part. There are a few things that I don't smell in there that I wish I did, but everything else you totally can smell. Immortal Meadow, it says violet, blackberry, benzoin, leather, vanilla, patchouli, cedar, vetiver, and green grass. And when you first spray this thing, the very first, I really seriously get the blackberry, the violet, the vetiver, and the grass. And it's not fresh cut grass. It is growing grass. You smell the grass from the bottom of the root to the top of the leaf. You smell the entire stalk. You don't get the dirt and stuff with it, but you do get the entire stalk of the grass. So after a while, and you really get the violets and the blackberries. It's way sweeter than I imagined. It's not cloying by any means, but it is way sweeter than what the notes made it sound like it was really going to be more pronounced in the green notes and the woody notes. And I thought patch being in there, then it was really going to be a dominant note too. But it's not. It's very dominant violet and blackberry. So after a few minutes, well, it's probably 30 minutes, the grass and the vetiver go into the background, and a hint of the leather kind of comes out at that time, and the benzoin and vanilla too. They're kind of there throughout the whole thing, but they really start warming up once it dries down. It stays fairly linear. I mean, it doesn't have this huge fluctuation between the top notes and the dry down. It does have a little fluctuation. Some notes kind of fade into the background, and others kind of sneak up a little bit. But it stays very, throughout the whole thing, violet, blackberry dominant, in my opinion. And once it dries down, I do wish I got more of the patchouli and the cedar, because I'm really getting into, incense and ouds and patchouli and woody notes and things like that. I like how those darken up a fragrance. This stays very optimistic. This is I think, a very feminine fragrance. And like I said, it's very optimistic kind of a fragrance. It's not as dark as I was expecting. I talked about before how wood notes I think of as a male choir. If you were to basically break it down, you got tenor, baritone, and bass being the low notes. The baritones, I talked about the oak, moss, vetiver, sandalwoods being there, and then your baritones where the bulk of the wood notes would be. Your guyuk, your masoya, your cedars are in there, and then your bass notes, the really deep woods, the really unique ones like the ouds and the wormwoods. Well, I think of all fragrances as kind of a six-part choir. I put them in there. The male fragrances, of course, stay the tenor, baritone, bass, and then the women, you got the soprano, the mezzo soprano, and the alto. And the way I break it down is like for the women, it's the sopranos are what you wear when you're young. So that's the Britney Spears, the Escadas, the Victoria's Secrets, like that. And then you've got your mezzo sopranos, and that's the women that are kind of growing up and out of those fruity, really heavy fruity notes, and are getting into more unique. They're getting into maybe some foodie or some woody notes or whatever. And then you've got your altos, and altos in a choir usually can sing tenor and vice versa. So those are women like me that I'm to the point in my life, in my olfactory life, that I'm really exploring some really unique and different smells that wouldn't be for other people to necessarily smell on me, smells that are just for me. I mean, the fragrances I wear just for me that are really unique and a lot of women wouldn't be into. Um, that's where I'm at. This falls to me for the women that would really enjoy this the most, even more than myself, are going to be more in the mezzo soprano, borderline alto section, because it's very optimistic. And the altos, like me, I think of them as liking more of the dark, mysterious fragrances, more really unique. This fragrance, it could appeal to a whole lot of women. I mean, it really needs to be in the mezzo soprano because I can see totally young women wearing it, and I can see older women like myself wearing it. I even think it would be great with layering. I've got a couple of really heavy woody ones that are almost too masculine for me. I'm thinking about spraying them together and see what happens, just to play around with it a little bit. But it is a really, really fabulous and well done fragrance. It blends so well. What I picture in my head when I wear this is that, because there's this, my husband, he doesn't care for it much because he says there's a synthetic note in it, but I kind of like that. And there is this synthetic note in it that kind of brings everything together and gives it a little creaminess. I mean, it's really unlike anything else I have in my collection. Even my husband said that. He's like, boy, that is totally different than anything else that you've got or I've smelled. He said that really is a unique fragrance, and I agree with him. It's, I wore it yesterday, and it lasted me 10, 12 hours before finally I really had to snort before I could smell it, It really lasted a long time. And so when I wear this, I think of after the dry down, well, during the whole thing, really, I think of sitting in a springtime field, and where the grass is brand new, not fresh cut. It doesn't have that smell, but it has this fresh grown green grass. Like I said, you smell the root all the way up to the top of the leaf. And I'm sitting in a small field of violets surrounded by green grass, eating some fresh picked blackberries in a brand new plastic bowl. That's kind of what I picture when I wear this. And it really is delightful. And in the dry down, it gets a little peppery note in there. I'm not sure what that's from, but it just gets a little a little bit spicy when it dries down, which I really appreciate. Probably something to do with the patch. Maybe I am getting a little bit of it. I do wish that was a little more in the forefront though in the dry down, because I'm really getting into those kind of notes right now. But it is well done. I recommend everybody giving this a sniff. Like I said, I think it appeals more to the ladies than it does the men. But from what I understand, Sebastiane is launching some more fragrances here in the fairly near future. And I think are going to be more masculine fragrances, from what I understand. But this one is worth a sniff. This is Immortal Meadow, and well done, Sebastiane. And this is Boo. Peace.